want to have a healthy girl. When I went back to Dr. Jackie for my 7-week checkup, she told me that the baby wasn't growing and it looked like it was no longer a viable pregnancy. The toughest part though was having to tell Ducey, I can't not tell him. So I said to him, Ducey, when Mike was in New York, something happened and I lost the baby. He just started crying. He was like, what? How? And he just started bawling like.
How do you feel about the fact that she had him so involved in the pregnancy and then she had to tell him, I lost the baby?
Miscarriage in the first trimester is very likely, so you think she should wait till she's what?
Showing? I would say wait until you're actually showing. There's a bump in the belly because kids are naturally inquisitive. Mm-hmm. So at that time, they would probably even ask, Mama, your stomach fat. Mama, you fat. And then you can explain to them, there's a baby in there, and then talk about it. But there was nothing there, for her to really to talk about it. And even if she would have not talked about it to her son Ducey, then you would have never had to tell him that the baby is gone.
And I said, I'm okay, Ducey, are you okay? And he said, no. He said, I really wanted my baby sister.
The opinions expressed in our content is for entertainment purposes only. We do not assume liability or endorse any of the third-party content used in our materials. Okay?
Okay, so we see in this episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 16, we see that Sanya loses the baby.
When I went back to Dr. Jackie for my 7-week checkup, she told me that the baby wasn't growing and it looked like it was no longer a viable pregnancy and had the most traumatic miscarriage. Tough time.
But I want to talk about the fact that she told her 5-year-old son. She had him so involved in the pregnancy early on. Doctor's appointments, ultrasounds, how many weeks she was, and she had him all hyped up and happy. I would say a little too soon because she was only 5 weeks, and she had been talking to him about it even before that.
I thought I was 5 weeks 2 weeks ago. Ducey's gonna kill me. He needs me to be getting close. I can't be going backwards. I don't want to rain on your parade. I would really not keep involving him until we see heartbeats. I said, babe, I can't not tell him. So I said to him, Ducey, when Mike was in New York, something happened and I lost the baby. He just started crying. He was like, what? How? And he just started bawling like.
So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the fact that she had him so involved in the pregnancy and then she had to tell him, I lost the baby?
I think it's one of those things, I guess, on preference. She was happy. Like she said, she was overjoyed. She was just caught in the moment, so that's why she told him. And I'm just thinking, like, we all know what happens when you get too happy. You blurt something out you probably shouldn't blurt out. But other than that, I don't know when would be the right time because you can have a miscarriage. I don't want to say any time, but in the first trimester, it's very likely. So you think she should wait till she's what?
Showing
4 months. So after the second trimester, that's when
right. I would think that I would say wait until you're actually showing. There's a bump in the belly because kids are naturally inquisitive. So at that time, they would probably even ask, Mama, your stomach fat. Mama, you fat. And then you can explain to them, there's a baby in there, and then talk about it. But there was nothing there, for her to really to talk about it. And even if she would have not talked about it to her son Ducey, and I think then you would have never had to tell him that the baby is gone or whatnot, and he wouldn't have had that traumatic response to it. She said he was boohooing and he was crying. He was torn because he really, really wanted his baby sister or sibling or whatever it was. So I felt like it was too much. It was too much to give a child that young, and he's young, so he will bounce back. He's 5, so he will forget about it. But I just think that it just wasn't the right move as a parent to try and protect your son's innocence.
That's true.
I just think, and I'm thinking about myself. Like when your siblings, 7 years apart, I don't remember telling you.
You never told me. I found out through cousins, and I came and asked you pregnant? I remember.
I don't remember telling you.
You never told me.
Right, because my thoughts, like, once again, to me, it's like, because I don't know. I feel like these days we give children too much power, too much responsibility, too much information, and I feel like some things it's not a child's worry. Because, like I said, now that child at 5 has a burden. He's gonna think about that. Even though, like I say, he's a kid, he's gonna bounce back. He's gonna eventually forget about it. But right now, at 5, he shouldn't have to worry about what happened to the baby. What do you mean the baby's gone? He shouldn't have to worry about that, type of thing or whatnot.
This is his formative time, and he's developing, and he'll forever remember this. Yeah. But he's resilient, so he's resilient.
I just feel like these days, people feel like everybody should be informed. They should know what's going on step by step, and it's like, no, they shouldn't, because they can't even process the information correctly or properly or whatnot. I don't know how far along I was when you found out, but to me, it just wasn't a conversation that you had with a 7-year-old. Or
some people they 6 at the time. Tell they had the kids involved.
Right. I didn't think you were 6, but like I said,
you ain't tell me with Eon either.
And then you weren't even inquisitive. You wasn't like, you was like, hey, Mom, what's going on there?
I came and asked you when somebody told me, your mom pregnant. What? I'm living with this woman. How do you know something I don't know?
I come from a generation of need to know basis. Oh, God. Right? Like I said, to me, and it wasn't like everybody, let's all gather around and sit down and, here's the ultrasound. We're going to have a reveal. Because it wasn't even, back then, there was no such thing as reveals and all the other kind of stuff. It was just, you came home one day, sibling, hey, you got a brother, you got a sister.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, okay. That's just how it was. But yeah, I just think it was a little too much. Too much for a 5-year-old. I stand on that. It's like I stood on it back then for my 7-year-old.
And when I was then 7 and 10? Whatever.
I don't get it. Like I said, I don't see the reasoning behind that giving that information. Like I said, I could tell
introducing another family member into the dynamic.
Right. And I can say for me too, I think I was kind of young-minded at that time. When you're young, you think about yourself more so, and what's planning for this baby or whatnot. And then, like I said too, you weren't really an inquisitive child. Because other kids like, hey, what's going on? Why you fat? This, that, and the other. You weren't that kind of child or whatnot. So it never came up, I guess. But and now watching it on TV, I would say too, I never even thought about. I never even had a thought that I need to sit my child down and explain to this 7-year-old child that you're going to have a sibling. This is that and the other. And I guess it has to do with something like, I don't think it was something that my mom did.
But y'all like less than 3 years apart.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it just wasn't a conversation. Like I said, to me, that's more of a newer thing or of another culture type thing. It's not something that if you ask like your grandparents or your dad, did they explain to you, that you had siblings on the way? And they'll probably say no as well. It wasn't like I said,
my daddy and the people. Mm-hmm. That's why I said the difference with y'all is y'all all close in age so far as understanding. A 3-year barely can talk. So what can you really say to a 3-year-old? But it's like you said, with me being 7, I can comprehend.
I'm just saying in general, it just wasn't something that I think especially a lot of black people, this is just not a conversation you have with your younger child unless the child is inquisitive. But back in the day, now, like I said, now this new generation, they're involving everybody and every damn thing. And it's everybody's business what's going on with you. So this is different times, different mind frame. But yeah, I think he was too little.
What do you think? Let us know. Drop your 2 cents below. See ya. Hey y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're messing with the vibes. See ya.